Hi, this is Carl Dreschel. Thanks for joining us today in the third part and final part of our SharePoint series. We've already seen how you can use GSX Monitor and Analyzer to monitor, manage, measure, and analyze your environment. In this video, we're going to go a little further in depth for SharePoint around analyzing the information, specifically server and your performance statistics, reporting and trending, and how we can use GSX Analyzer to manage your SLA. Okay, with that, let's move on to GSX Monitor and Analyzer. Okay, let's take a look at statistics within GSX Monitor. As you see here, we have our main view around SharePoint servers. If we come up here and we take the drop down and look at SharePoint statistics, the general page we're going to be presented with here is an overall view of each individual SharePoint server. Some general statistics around what's going on that server, version of SharePoint, CPU usage, RAM, and the last event viewer error. We're also going to present the site information, so the number of collections, the number of documents there, the size of the collections, and then the size of the documents. We're going to look at the search index or crawling status. As we've seen in the last video, we do some alerting around that, and this is going to give you the information around that. Finally, below we have the content DB information. So we're going to have for each content DB the number of site collections, the size, the number of documents, and the size of the documents. If we select an individual content DB here, it's going to show us below the site information for that DB. So each individual site will be shown down here with some information on that, including its size and the number of documents included with that. Okay, let's move on to our graphs for SharePoint. Let's take one as an example here. We can look at, say, SharePoint access time. So when clicking on this, each of your servers are going to be represented in a graph, and you're going to see the access time for each of those individual servers. If you've got 20 servers or 30 servers, they're going to show up in tiles on this screen, and you of course can drill in and get more information on that. As you see here, there's some spikes in access. Obviously, this might be a little more dramatic than what you would see in your environment, but it's a good way to get a visual representation of what's going on. Okay, with that, let's move on to your performance tabs as we looked at before. SharePoint performance, again, we're going to get a similar type of a graph, but this is going to be specific performance around a URL within a SharePoint site. A little more information. Just going to show you here what's going on, and this is where you're going to be alerted and notified on what's going on with your environment. Okay, so what do we do with all of that information? GSX Monitor goes on and collects these statistics, and it gathers and compiles everything. Each night it's going to forward that information onto your GSX Analyzer environment. So let's go take a look over there. Okay, here we see our GSX Analyzer overview page. And this page is going to be a dashboard view that you might want to give access to, maybe your management team, or different teams, different individuals. Within GSX Monitor, there's tags that you can put on the data. These tags will then come over to GSX Analyzer, and when you create a profile, you can use that information so that when someone logs in, all they see perhaps is the BlackBerry environment information, or the Exchange environment information, or SharePoint environment information. The page is completely customizable, so you can show these gauges if you want, or if you don't want. Of course, you can go through here, you can see the different statistics that we're going to present. Overall here, BlackBerry, Exchange, SharePoint. In the lower corner here, you're going to see the last 10 alerts. So that might be useful information for some individuals, and overall availability over a period of time here. As I said, this is the overview page. We can go a little more in depth now and take a look at some of these other functions here. Let's start with the alerting really quick. I know this video is mostly geared around statistics and things of that nature, but this is a nice feature to point out. All of the alerts that are generated within GSX Monitor are also kept track of. So that information is going to come over to Analyzer and be accessible for review, and it's good to help determine if there's a history of things that have been going on, and give you a better idea of how often things are occurring, and if there's any frequency to it, or if it's happening, say, at 4 a.m. every morning, or if marketing is sending out a big document every day at 3 o'clock and you're alerted for this. You can see things like that in here. Okay, with that, let's go back to the statistics, and right now we're going to take a look at the trend reports. Within the trend reports, you can take any number of statistics and combine them anyway to get a graphical view of what's going on. So in this example, we have the number of sites, the total number of documents in the sites, and then the sizes and things like that. Obviously, you would expect if we increase the number of documents, we are also going to increase the size of the total documents together. So what you can do here, let's just take one for example just to clear the screen. You can drag and drop this information onto this graph and plot it against each other. So let's say total size of all sites and total number of documents. We can drag that down here and get a visual representation. Obviously this data is a little flat, but you get the idea. With the growth of the number of documents, you're going to get a growth in the information. Another tool that we offer is our environmental health reports. If we go into that section here, we can see that the information is used. It's some of the same information, but it's presented in a different way. In environmental health reports, we get a better idea of how our environment is doing overall across all servers and different statistics. In this example, it's Exchange uptime. So we've got our individual servers here and the uptime that they have. Okay, these two servers are doing very well. It's also going to show, what our contract value is, and then the average. So in this case, this server looks like it's been down. It's impacting our average quite a bit, and we can ascertain from that well, this server likely is going to help us, or this server is likely going to impact our overall SLA. Now, if we see that this server is down, and we look below, we see some of the set key performance indicators. So here we'll get an idea of why perhaps this server is not up as it should be. Perhaps CPU usage is at 100% constantly, or perhaps we're constantly using as much RAM as is available. These types of things that you set will give you a better idea of what's going on here. Now in this instance, there's only 3 servers, but imagine if you had 50 servers across here. You would be trying to figure out, without a tool like this, which servers are causing problems and what types of components of those servers are contributing to those problems. With a view like this, you'll instantly be able to tell which servers aren't meeting your SLA and what components are impacting that SLA. Okay? Now, if you select an individual server, the information is going to be displayed down here. So you'll have your general statistics and things like that. So you'll see your SLA and the key performance indicators you've identified. Over here, you're going to get the complete view of it. All right, that's Exchange. Let's look at SharePoint really quick. We've got another example here. This is, again, server uptime, and these are some of the KPIs associated with it. We've got access time, server outages, hours excluding maintenance, RAM, things like that. But overall, what we have is an excellent way to manage and manipulate all of the statistics and information that's gathered by GSX Monitor. And we present that in a way that makes it easy to determine where issues are and which components are impacting them. All right, with that, that concludes this series. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.